It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. This is Monday, May the 20th, a day that will go down in Timberwolves history.
Yes!
Oh!
Yes!
Oh, good Monday morning, everybody. What did we see last night?
It's pretty damn amazing.
The beginning of a new era. The
Lord.
dawning of the age of Aquarius. Howl! I've never done a wolf howl in my life.
All right.
That was the first one. How did I do?
I thought it sounded a bit like a sick coyote, but that's, you know what? You're just getting started.
Listen. As I've said many times, these last 6 weeks since I jumped on the bandwagon, among the best 6 weeks of my life.
Now, you've been digging on the Wolves this year. You've brought them up from time to time, as I recall.
I have.
Because that's when I stopped listening. But, no, I'm kidding. No, hey, it's a damn entertaining team, and good for the Wolves, good for basketball fans in Minnesota.
I got to tell you, man. To be fair, was well on the Anthony Edwards train before I moved to town. But since I got here, I've just completely let it go, unfettered. I have let the pigeons loose. They are soaring throughout my heart right now. I'm watching that game last night. At halftime, I'm texting with my son, and he's like, "We're gonna need Ant big," and I'm saying, "Yeah, we are." But knowing, forget it. It's not gonna happen because. It just sometimes it doesn't happen, especially with a young kid, a 22-year-old kid. I'll tell you something right now. Ant didn't have that Ant game we were all hoping for, but it was a far more important game and a game that will play a large part in the establishment of the legend. This is a game where Anthony Edwards' shot was off. He couldn't find a rhythm. And this is a game, all the greats in their careers have games like this. MJ did, Kobe did, Dwayne Wade, any guard you've ever cheered for had a game. They could not find their mojo. And Ant last night, like those other guys, when in the same situation, he adjusted, never lost confidence, didn't get angry, didn't slump his shoulders. He wasn't bitching at the refs. He just adjusted. Defense, rebounding, passing. He did everything but focus on being a scorer. His prints were all over the game. I'm telling you right now, Anthony Edwards has ascended right before our eyes. That's the kind of game that the coaching staff of Minnesota, they knew yesterday how great he was. Today, they know he's even greater. He is, listen, man, I'm telling you.
I know.
He is on that path.
Yes.
This is the craziest stat I've ever heard. Minnesota this year, when Anthony Edwards has less than 5 points in the first half, they're 8-1. That's the greatest thing you can say about a 22-year-old.
Yeah, he motivates the other guys last night.
Yep.
All the other fellas were in double digits.
Absolutely incredible. That comeback, I thought to myself last night, okay, Boston Red Sox were down to the Yankees in 2004, 3-0. Like all-time great comeback. Delta Tau Chi with the Deathmobile, the comeback over Omega Theta Pi. No one saw that coming in Faber, Pennsylvania in 1962. It was an amazing comeback. But last night, it's one thing to be down 15 at halftime. How about a few minutes into the third quarter when they were down by 20 to the defending champions on the road? Oh, my God. What an absolute... I'm telling you, man, I was... At halftime, I was
excited?
like... at halftime, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to sleep. And then I couldn't. And I couldn't, and then all of a sudden I'm just screaming at the television in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. What a scintillating and entirely life-affirming win for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Well, no doubt that just two wasn't on my game.
Let her rip, man. We can listen. I will listen to Meg Ryan's orgasm all day long. Quite happily.
I just feel like she was faking it.
Well, you know what? But I tell you what, it was just a really and now you've got the Western Conference Finals. 4 wins away from going farther than a team than the Timberwolves have ever gone. Well, in fact, I don't think they've ever been to the Western Finals. Maybe they did with KG. I can't even remember. Who cares? They're going now. What a great team, and literally the way they've bought into each other. Some of the post game, the presser after the game, Karl Anthony Towns and Ant, you can just tell They have such a great vibe right now in that locker room. It's going to
see either one of you guys. And usually in NBA history, it says you have to lose and lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says
we lost last year?
Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams usually.
It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We lost the last 2 years. Shit.
God damn. How much more we got to lose?
Yeah, how much you want us to lose?
We're losing for 20 years.
I mean, that's just the truth, dog.
God damn.
We've been losing for 20 years. It's like, man, come on, man. What do you mean? First round, second round, third round, doesn't matter. You lose, you lose.
Yeah, I love how unaware they are of the greatness, I guess, that they possess and that they're headed for. Anthony Edwards the Ant-Man talking with Charles Barkley afterwards.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring your ass.
Hey.
That's my favorite quote. Bring your
That's
ass.
so great. Anthony Edwards, he signed a 5-year, $204 million contract with the T-Wolves, $204 million of which is guaranteed. All of it.
Let's enjoy him while we have him.
Yeah, I'm here to say this. Worth every penny because it's not my money. That said, the guy is just, he's sucking wind compared to some of the higher paid athletes in the world. Anthony Edwards, is he worth $200 million? I say yes. Let's look at a few of the other people out there earning the big change. I think we might have a little disagreement on some of the values of these contracts. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is May the 20th. The Minnesota Timberwolves are in the Western Conference Finals. They will start at home Wednesday night against the Dallas Mavericks. Oh, Luka and Kyrie coming to town. It's going to be a dogfight. I don't know what they're saying about it. I think it's going to be another very grueling series. But whoever comes out of the West is going to be a favored over the Eastern champ for sure. Minnesota 4 wins away from their first ever NBA Finals. I'm excited. Anthony Edwards will make $40 million this year. Actually, that's not true. He'll over the next 5 years, he will average about $40 million. This year, a paltry 30 some odd million. So, and then next year, 35 up to when it's all said and done after 5 years, an average of $40 million a year. Or if you want to look at it in terms of the highest paid athletes in the world, just a bag of salted peanuts, really. Cristiano Ronaldo, the Portuguese soccer star who now plays in Saudi Arabia this year, 1 year, will make $260 million.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
$260 million for a season of soccer in a B league. In a B-level league. The Saudi Arabian Professional Soccer League is, I would say, it's not even up to the MLS standards as far as the quality of play. Now they've got a lot of aging superstars they're paying a fortune to, but Cristiano going for $260 million. I gotta say, it's a little odd. I am okay. Here he is. If anyone doesn't know who this guy is, he's been one of the best players in the world for 20 years. He's been a star, a global star. Played for Manchester United first, and then Real Madrid. He's a legendary figure. Arguably or inarguably the greatest Portuguese player ever. Blah 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 blah.
It sounds like he might be worth it then, huh?
Yeah.
No?
But here's my question. He goes to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Okay. You could make $260 million a year. Got it. But you could make $100 million a year playing in Europe. You could make $100 million a year playing in the United States if you wanted to. Why go to Saudi Arabia where if you go out in public, your wife has to walk behind you?
Well, there's an added perk.
Just a thought. I don't know.
I'm just $260 million. Besides, he's not the friendliest to women, isn't he? Isn't there a whole bunch of allegations about him?
There's a lot of stuff going on with him. Yeah, in fact, to your point, the reason he didn't come to the MLS like Lionel Messi is he'd probably be arrested on arrival for outstanding sexual assault charges. But I just wonder what what that conversation is. Honey, I already have $1 billion in the bank. I'd like to go to Saudi Arabia to make more. And anyway, you can't drive or really, you got to cover your face in public.
Well, they have really
going
good.
with him.
They have good dental. I understand.
Is that
So
what it
that's
is?
the draw.
Yeah, I'm sure if he just sends, have the extra that he's making back to her, she'll be fine with it.
I mean, he's making $260. Half of that, $135 million. That's what Lionel Messi's making to be in Miami Beach. I don't know. I think it's a good trade-off. You could take the other $135 million. I'll go to Miami. Thanks a lot. If it's me, I'm going Miami Beach over Riyadh or whatever city he's in Saudi Arabia. Call me crazy.
Just always break for the money, man. Take the money. These are athletes. They're young, They got to cash out. They got to get. But look at all those half-assed golfers. Phil Mickelson, long past his prime, picked up the big dough just by going over and playing for the Saudis. Good money.
John Rahm, another guy on that Live Golf Tour, the Saudi-funded tour, he's number 2 on the list this year for all time, $218 million.
Crap. Do they have radio stations over there?
You know what? I imagine they do. I imagine they do. I don't know if the language is that much of a barrier, but you're a bright guy. You can figure it out.
Yeah, I can throw an accent down.
Now these guys are getting paid. That's like that Ronaldo money, that John Rahm money. There's most of that is just straight up. You got a check cut to you ahead of time. LeBron James is making about 130, but that's not just from the Lakers. That's all in. That's endorsements on and off the court kind of money. The basketball players on this list, that's what they're dealing with. Giannis over in Milwaukee, $110 million. A bunch of soccer players, Steph Curry, Lamar Jackson, the only member of the NFL who is in the top 10 world's highest paid athletes at $100.5 million. Not bad, Lamar, for a guy who's never won or even been to a Super Bowl.
Choked away a few championship games to not get to, I'm talking about divisional championships.
Yep. Yeah, so
or conference championship.
Good money if you can get it. That said, that's the highest end of that. That's the crazy stuff. Like $260 million a year, even $100 million a year. That's pipe dream Powerball insanity, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What about the people? The 5 jobs in America, just 5 jobs that have the most millionaires. Now, and by millionaires, I mean somebody with literally just $1 million in wealth. That includes like property, not $1 million cash, but if you're completely valued at least $1 million, the top 5 jobs for people in this country, you're going to be surprised, probably. Engineers.
Oh, well,
accountants makes sense. They understand how money works.
They can embezzle.
People that are in management of various sources, lawyers. But how about number 3 on the list? Teachers.
What?
Teachers, just general teachers.
Not the narrative I've been listening to my entire life.
Well, it speaks to the power of compounding interest and living below your means. 401ks, et cetera. Teachers on the list. Think about it though. When you're a teacher, you don't come into it thinking I'm going to strike it rich one day, and until then I'll live above my means. No, you think, oh my God, I have to save every single penny.
Yeah,
and they do. And 30 years into their career, 401k and a house that's usually paid off, they're like, hey, I'm worth over $1 million. Go figure.
Well, it's all about the end game, I guess. I mean, it's if you're counting college professors in there that are tenured because they can make the big bucks. But I suppose if you're just looking at the career, although you want to hear a teacher laugh right in your face, kind of throw a little spit right at you, a very sarcastic laugh. Tell them, it must be nice to have summers off. And then they'll tell you about their second, third, and fourth jobs. That's exactly sister being one of them.
So the 2 most important ways for people that reach $1 million total in wealth, investing in a 401k, buying a house that you eventually pay off. That's the key. Yeah. As Vince Ricardo says in The In-Laws, the key to the benefits program is not getting killed.
My vices are my benefits program. I'm going the other way. I just hope they take me out before it's, I have to live in the tent city over here.
You're the Georgie Best of radio. George Best, one of the world's greatest ever soccer players, Northern Irish legend, played for Man United in the 60s and 70s, with the greatest quote in the history of sport, where he said, I spent millions on fast cars, fast women, and drink, and the rest I squandered.
We have an American called Tug McGraw. Had one anyway.
That's right.
He did the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I think his gambling was in there, though. Might have been some cocaine involved. But, who's
Just
at the end of the day, who's counting?
Just a touch of snow every now and again. Get you through those late inning games.
Tug.
The Tugster. He had the one. Hey, man, 1980, he cashed in.
Yes, he did.
Philly's got that one World Series.
Right on.
And then he bestowed upon the world the scourge that is Tim McGraw. So on the balance, I'd say he still owes us something. That's just me. What do I know? I do know this. It's just about time to head west. It's a Monday morning, and that means who knows what happened over the weekend. We all will know in a minute. That's after we get the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, May the 20th, and right now it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
How about those Timberwolves? Can you believe it? I've had a few drinks, been watching the game, and made some money, and yeah, I can't wait for the next series. The Timberwolves, man, come back in the second half like you can't believe it. Oh, yeah. This report brought to you by the good folks over at Marcus Theaters. Marcus Theaters every Tuesday, $6 for any movie you want to see. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited after watching the game. And like I said, I had a couple glasses of wine, but it made so. Okay. We got love and hate nuggets today. First, the love nugget, other than the love for the Timberwolves. I'm getting this secondhand, but I believe it, that by this time next year, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce may very well be married. They have reportedly talked about it, and the big question, if things continue to go the way they have been going after the end of the 2024-2025 NFL football season, that they'll take the big leap. I hope that this is true. Only time will tell, but you heard it here first. Oh, speaking of hearing it here first, remember last week I said, boy, now Diddy is being investigated by multiple police agencies. Sexual assault, rape, human trafficking, and other charges. I said, something's brewing. Well, by now, you've already seen that Diddy video of him punching, kicking his longtime girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Diddy paid Cassie millions of dollars a few days after the attack. And is it true that Diddy may have paid thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to officials back in 2016 when the incident took place, not to arrest him? And the hits just keep on coming, if you'll excuse the pun. Now cops are contacting some big names who used to attend Diddy's freak parties and giving them an option. Would they rather be investigated themselves or roll over on Diddy and tell the authorities what they know about Diddy? And I'm hearing there's still some other horrible videos out there. And forget the phony Diddy apology this weekend. Even if Diddy doesn't go to jail on new charges, his career's over. And don't feel too sorry for him. Diddy's still worth $850 million. Hey, what's the deal with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez? I mean, what is the deal? Some say that maybe Ben's drinking again. Some say, man, Ben's a pretty big jerk at times. Look, I don't know what it's all about, whether Ben and J-Lo are breaking up or not, but I can tell you this. Ben's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, is one of the sweetest, most loving, understanding, down-to-earth wife and mother ever. And she done Ben like a bad habit. Jennifer Lopez has been known to put up with a lot of crap before pulling the plug on a relationship. I mean, don't forget, Jennifer Lopez dated Diddy for 2 years before escaping that disaster. I can't believe it, man. Like I said, had a little wine, watched the games. I'm excited, want some money. So I don't know how this report sounds, but all I know is I'm celebrating like everybody in Minnesota today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
Goddamn!
Drunk Mike Evans is my favorite.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
How about those Timberwolves?
Driving fans to drink since the day they were founded. At least it's happy. At least it's happy drinks now.
Yeah, I think the cat's out of the bag. Mike announced on the air that he's in semi-retirement, so now he's recording these for us.
Yes, he is.
That's clear to everyone. Yeah. So he sent one last night, and then he sent the one we just heard.
Yeah,
right before bedtime, and that's
fantastic.
Yeah.
No, that's top-notch stuff right there. Last night in Denver, still, I'm still just mind-boggling, man. The young teams got to get their heads together now for Wednesday's Western Conference Final, Game 1 at home against the Dallas Mavericks. Before we look ahead, though, we got to look back. All right, here you go. May 20th, 2000, actually a terrible day for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was on this day 24 years ago that Malik Sealy was killed in a car accident. The 30-year-old sixth man for the Wolves hit by a drunk driver as he was driving home from Kevin Garnett's 24th birthday party. I was a huge Malik Sealy fan. I loved him in college at St. John's. He was one of those guys in the NBA, never an all-pro, but everywhere he went, he made the team better. And a really, really, really wonderful dude, a brilliant guy, and a huge loss. The team retired his number 2 uniform shortly thereafter, which was a very fitting tribute. On this day in 2024, as in today, Wolves fans woke up and thought that didn't really happen, did it? That was just a dream, right? And right now, as I speak, we're all trying to figure out how to handle being pretty great. Just enjoy it, Minnesota. Yeah. It's real.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring your ass.
Hey.
That's going on a T-shirt. Anthony Edwards, bring your ass.
Yep. It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, May the 20th. The Minnesota Timberwolves, against all odds last night, down 15 at the half, down 20 in the third quarter, came back and defeated the defending champion Denver Nuggets in Denver. They are now in the Western Conference Finals. Get on board. The T-Wolves train is hot.
Amazing.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to enjoy? It's a damn entertaining team, and they're going for it. I mean, they've got that go-for-it attitude, and they're just a lot of fun to watch. Hell, the post-game press conferences are a lot of fun to watch.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring your ass.
Hey.
Oh, that's great. Charles Barkley, he'll be here now. I mean, even if TBS or whatever wasn't planning on sending him here, Anthony Edwards tells Charles Barkley, bring your ass. Barkley's booking a flight. Make no mistake about it.
New Minnesota tourism slogan.
Minnesota.
Bring your ass.
That'd be great.
Cat and Towns having fun again post-game.
This is for either one of you guys. And usually in NBA history,
I said Cat and Towns. I meant Ant and Towns.
this is for either one of you guys. And usually in NBA history, it says you have to lose and lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says
We lost last year.
Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams usually.
It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We lost the last 2 years. Shit.
God damn. How much more we got to lose?
Yeah, how much you want us to lose?
We're losing for 20 years.
I mean, that's just the truth, dog.
God damn.
That is awesome. Karl Anthony Towns, the most perplexing and confounding player in recent history. A guy with every shot in the bag, but will still do turnaround jump shots over a 6'2" guard. I just jump out of my skin 9 times a game. But boy, when he's on, when he's good, he's great. And when he's bad, I just pull my hair out. But he's having a great time. And he's got the perfect, Foyle and Ant. The whole team seems to really be on board with each other. Mm-hmm. And that you can't ask for anything better than that right now. So it's a very, very exciting time for Timberwolves fans and around the league, too. A very exciting time to see Ant becoming genuinely a contender for face of the league for quite some time. He's going to have a big summer playing for USA basketball. His star is just rising. So it's a great time to be a Wolves fan because the next decade is going to be pretty special with a kid like that.
You don't think? There doesn't seem to be a person out there that gets paid to talk about basketball that thinks he's not going to the East or the West Coast post-contract. And he will. He'll go for the big bucks. They always do. But
I don't know.
We'll enjoy it while we got it.
He's got he signed that 5-year extension. I mean, $40 million goes a long way in the Twin Cities. That's all I'm saying. He's gonna do okay here. And the truth is, I mean, look at the last NBA title. Milwaukee has a title. Denver has a title right now. Like in the final 4 teams this year, there's not a single MVP, a former or current MVP. There's also not a team that has been, has won a title in the last 6 years. So I mean, the league is a small market, and a smaller market, I should say. NBA career is not quite as treacherous as it once was. I mean, things have changed. We'll see. I mean, if they can keep bringing him, I tell you what, if they keep drafting players that fit, I'd be interested to see if Ant doesn't make it a one team stop, at least for the first decade. Anyway, let's just enjoy it, Brian. Let's enjoy it while he's here.
I know we've got a whole nother, how many games?
There's a 7-game series and then a 7-game series if we get past Dallas. It's a great time to be a T-Wolves fan. We got to enjoy things as they happen because you never know. You never know when the dominoes are going to fall the other direction. You never know when the tables will be turned, if you will. And that's what I'm thinking of. I have to share this story with you. This is a story from a veterinarian at a clinic. Was on a Reddit board, and she told this story. It's about as good as it gets. Emergency trip to the vet. A woman brings in her puppy. She's like, oh, my God, my dog, there's something wrong. Not acting up, very lethargic. They take the dog in. They check out his vitals. They go to an X-ray, and they find an obstruction in the dog's tummy, which is not that uncommon. Dogs will eat anything. They'll just give it a try. I have a friend whose dog ate half of a Nerf football and had to have it. They were like, something's in there. They open the dog up and they pull out half of a Nerf football. It was a Great Dane, but still, that was too big of a Nerf to pass through.
Lulu chewed up and ate a whole Frisbee. Last year.
My God.
My buddy's dog ate a bungee cord, hooks and all.
Oh, the hooks.
Yeah, had to be surgically removed, and still have that bungee cord laying around, my buddy does.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's those bungee cords are built to last.
Yeah,
Tony, was this like a whammo full-on Frisbee, or was this like a smaller disc golf version? What are we talking about?
No, a big one, because Lulu loves to chase the ball and bring it back. I thought, I want her to be a Frisbee dog, too. But no, she chomped it.
Oh, Fry
ate it up.
Just a month ago ate an entire hairbrush, and not like a little dude hairbrush. My daughter's big, massive hairbrush. The kind you'd paddled the kids with 50 years ago. That kind of hairbrush. Ate it. I was like, ate what part? You mean the brushes, the bristles? Ate the brush, Dad. The brush is gone. There is no more brush.
Well, this puppy in question today, it was not a hairbrush. It wasn't a Frisbee. It wasn't a bungee cord. Opened the dog up, pulled out a thong. A lady's thong, a pair of underwear.
Yeah, those are expensive.
The dog owner, the woman who brought the puppy, was told, we've got the problem. Surgery went well, going to heal up fine. We pulled out a thong. And the woman says, I don't have a thong. I've never worn a thong.
Trouble in paradise.
Oops. Did the dog ever go? Has the dog been anywhere but your home? No, it's a puppy. He's never been anywhere but our house. She called her husband.
Yeah.
Pulled a thong out of the dog's stomach, and dude had to come clean. I
wear thongs, is what you say if you're a married man.
That is exactly what you say. I wear thongs. He did not say I wear thongs. He said, oh, oops, I guess my side piece left her thong in our house. The obvious joke would be the dog was in the thong place at the right time. We don't have to go there. But I mean, I've heard some stories over the years of people getting busted for these sort of things. But that's an all-time classic. I mean,
that's great. Although she left, she's like, I can't seem to find that had to be a little nerve-wracking for him, wondering where the hell that thong went. He must have tore that house half apart.
I don't think so. I think it was a sleeper cell. I think the woman in question knew exactly what she was doing. kicked that thong under the bed and said, someone will find this.
Oh, she was tired of him, huh?
No, I'm saying I think the mistress did that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because let me clue you in on something, mistresses out there. Here's a little 100% of the time, and believe me, I know, is that if you think you're going to get him to leave his wife by busting him, 100% of the time, you're going with her. Yeah, he's not. You're the side action. You're never going to be number one. Ever.
I see what you're saying.
So you got him busted. The wife is out of there, and guess who else is out of there? You are.
So there's collateral damage in ways that the woman doesn't expect. I see what you're saying.
Yes, right. But yeah, that's tough. But you're right. So she left it behind, thinking, well, the wife may. So she tucked it somewhere. Dogs find everything. They've got that nose.
Yeah, kicked it right under the bed or right under a pillowcase on the floor or something. That's what I'm imagining happened.
Oh man,
that's a rough one, man.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough way to get caught.
I mean, I don't know that there's a good way to get caught doing something you shouldn't be doing, but that's pretty rough. I mean, what does it say? What is the universe trying to tell you when your dog turns on you? When your dog busts you for something? I mean, come on, man. I'm telling you right now, Chauncey knows where all the bodies are buried. He's not turning on me.
Best friend.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what does that say? I got to say, there's and for obviously for the woman whose heart is broken, this is a sad story. For the rest of us looking at this from the outside, we can just appreciate the complete insanity that was just imagine being the vet who delivers that news and you see the wife's face when she says, I don't know a thong. Hey, it's a thong. Here you go. Hey, ma'am, here's your thong back. I mean, what is she going to wash it and wear it again? What do you? Come on.
Oh, we've kicked up Hornet's Nest here this morning, perhaps. 651-989. Rock the talk and text line. We have a caller, Tony.
Melissa from Apple Valley has a golden doodle who likes to chomp things down, too.
Oh, good morning. What have you got for us?
Good morning. My golden doodle, Hattie, has eaten sticks of butter with the wrapper, a pizza, meatloaf, but it's the Labradoodle who has eaten a bag of chocolate chips, which put her in the hospital.
Oh, no. Sure.
At last count, 17 rabbits.
Oh, loves rabbit.
And not kill them and ate them.
Well, I mean, waste not, want not.
17. And you could have easily missed one or two along the way.
I don't know, but I'm thinking the Easter Bunny, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, they're all gone. They're never coming back.
No undies, though?
No.
Right.
I do have friends that they've done that. Bigger dogs, if they eat underwear.
They eat underwear.
And it's like, who's surprised? Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man, that is...
They will eat anything.
That is incredible. That's awesome. Thank you for the call.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You got it. So the golden doodle hasn't broken up any marriages yet anyway. There's at least that.
No. But my buddy actually, I better not use, I'm not going to use his name. It doesn't matter. I just received a text. When is it okay to be caught cheating? Rupert Holmes, the Pina Colada song, Escape. That's how I remember now, buddy. He texted me 3 years ago. He got caught by his wife on a dating site, Tinder. By his wife, who was on Tinder.
Oh,
hi, honey.
Oh, she wasn't doing an investigative. She wasn't chasing him. She was there herself, and they found each other.
She was scrolling and ran into her hubby right there, looking right back at her.
Wow. What if she was attracted to him when she saw the picture?
I know. The first thing I asked him, we were out having lunch, and he tells me about it. I'm like, because you always ask, hey, how are things going? And he tells me a story. I'm like, that's fantastic, dude. You got to call that in the morning show. I'm not doing it. That's why I didn't give up his name. But I said, tell me, please, this ends with you both swiping right and making a connection. He's like, oh, no. It ended with her texting me. Like, what the hell's going on? And then,
So, my God.
The Pina Colada song, man. Yeah, that's a tough one. I've only been busted. Well, I mean, I think the most fantastic time that I was busted in my memory was I was not attached. I was the single person, but I had too much free time during the day. Us DJs, and I was a young single dude and ended up over at a lady's house. And I noticed we're downstairs in the basement. They never want to. I can respect not wanting to do it in the basement or in the bedroom. That's sacred, Mm-hmm. That's the temple in there. But we're downstairs on his weight bench, and I'm like looking at the weights, and I'm like, He's got like 80-pound dumbbells. He's got like 5 plates on there. I'm like, Ed, you must have a big husband. You just like scrawny guys on the side, I guess. And then all of a sudden, she stops. What's going on? He's home. You said he was a traveling salesman. He wasn't going to be home till tomorrow. He's home. I look out the window and Frankenstein in a suit is walking up the. I did the good old out the window, down.
Really?
Pile of clothes in your hand?
Yeah, and she wouldn't let me park my motorcycle near her house, understandably. So I parked it 3 or 4 blocks down. I get down to my motorcycle. I left my jacket with the keys to the motorcycle in it, hanging on his weight bench on the barbell.
Oh my.
So I had to go to a phone booth, call her. She answers the phone, pretends I'm a friend going, oh, we'll go shopping tomorrow, hangs up. And I went, all right, I don't know what that means. Walk back to my motorcycle from the convenience store, and there was my motorcycle jacket hanging on the handlebar of my motorcycle. All's well that ends well.
A chocolate in the pocket.
If I'm watching a movie or a TV show and somebody walks into someone else's study or their office during the party and they start going through their drawers looking for the key or the file or whatever, I literally start to, like, my heart races. I could be watching an episode of The Love Boat and Gopher is in Doc's office and I'm like looking for Q-tips. I'm like, he's going to get busted. He's going to get busted. I literally sweat no matter whether it's Meryl Streep or The Love Boat. I'm like, oh my God. You telling that story, I kid you not, man, I almost crawled out of my skin right there. I cannot believe that.
I like that reaction. Well, let's get Steve out of his skin today. Cheating stories. Everybody has one. Let's keep it light and fun if we can. 651-989-ROCK. That's the talk and text line. Game show's not till 8. We've got some time to play around here with a good cheating story. Hang tight.
I lift weights.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Oh, it's Monday, May the 20th. The Timberwolves. I wanted to say Friday, man.
Did.
I'm in a Friday state of mind after that Timberwolves comeback last night. Down 20 in the third. Whew. I'm going to be buzzing until tip-off Wednesday night when I get stressed out all over again. But, man, what a ride it's been with the Timberwolves. What a ride it is in life in general. If you get caught, if you get busted, I should say, cheating. We told a story earlier. A veterinarian had to perform surgery on a puppy that had a blockage in its tummy, opened it up, pulled out a thong, and the woman who brought the puppy in said, I don't have a thong. I've never worn a thong. Oops.
Well, maybe if you had, you'd still have a husband.
Yeah, the husband had a friend who apparently wore a thong and left one at their house. Yeah. One thing led to another. That's a tough way to get busted. It's funny. 10, 11 years ago, Rosemary and I took a trip. My band Trigger Hippie was playing a gig up in New York and one in Pennsylvania, and we had a friend in New York. We went up and stayed for a long weekend, and we came back, and it was just like a 3-day trip, so we just shared one bag for all of our stuff. And when we got back from this trip, we were unpacking and doing laundry, and I pulled out a pair of blue jeans that were like a woman's pair of jeans. And I go, but babe, what are these? She goes, I don't know. What are those? I go, I don't know what the hell they are. And she's like, those aren't, I've never seen them. I'm like, yeah, neither have I. She goes, and she looks at me, she goes, where did these come from? I go, well, okay, well, first of all, we've been together the last 3 days. We haven't been apart. And secondly, and then the more we looked at it, we were like, these are actually like a kid's pair of jeans. Like a 12-year-old might wear these. And we have never to this day been able to determine where those jeans came from ever. There's they were in our bag. I mean, they flew back home with us from a trip, and the place we stayed, nobody in that house, in that apartment, I should say, had pants that size. I mean, it is one of the most enduring mysteries of our life. So if you're listening and you put the jeans in our bag, please call in 651-989-ROCK. You could really solve this for us. That'd be great.
Some kid is pantsless out there.
Yeah,
a pantsless kid. Who's probably now in their 20s, still talking about it. The greatest story I ever heard about someone getting busted is actually someone I know, and I love this story because I can't stand this asshole. This may very well be. This may very well be about a story about a guy who sued my former band and put us on court TV for 2 weeks. Maybe. I'm just saying it might be about this guy whose name shall go unmentioned on the air. Wife had their second baby. They had a toddler and then a baby. And dude was sitting in his home in the nursery with the brand new baby. Wife is in bed asleep, and he is on his cell phone having a conversation with his girlfriend. And what he's saying to his girlfriend is, as he's holding his brand new baby in his arms,
oh, man.
As soon as the baby's 3 or 4 months old, I'm going to leave. I'm going to be with you. I love you. And he goes on and on and on and on.
Wow.
And he says, I can't stand her. She makes me sick, because the woman's going, you're not going to leave me. Your wife just had another baby. And he's going into all the reasons that he can't wait to get away from his wife.
Oh, my God. With a new baby. All right. See, this is when I tell women, it could be worse. This is the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah. And not only is he an awful guy, he's an idiot, because he's sitting in a rocking chair next to a baby monitor. The baby monitors, the speaker on the baby monitor is in the master bedroom, where the wife is laying in bed listening to this entire one-sided conversation.
What a poor woman, though, to listen. I mean, it must have been excruciating.
It is terrible. And again, true story, took her part. The monitor, the actual monitor is the bigger part, like the home base. She unplugs it, walks into the nursery where dude's sitting in the rocking chair, and she smashes it into his face. Literally, black eye, broken nose, all the works.
That's appropriate.
Bam. And that was the end of that one. And like I say, when you hear these stories, you go, oh, man, that's kind of crazy. What do you And then you hear a story about a guy like that, and I go, yes, I love that story.
That's great.
I'm more than happy to share that one. But anyway, like I say, he shall remain unnamed. But if you want to Google Black Crowes Court TV, you can figure out who it was.
Yeah.
Who am I to say?
I'm all over it.
These things happen. On the KQ Talking text line, someone wrote, from a woman's point of view, once a weenie wagger, always a weenie wagger.
Right.
I can't believe my friends and siblings are surprised when the person that they cheated with cheats on them.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Most recent experience, a friend who had to change phones. They're significant, better range of service. 2 prior girlfriends texted while the woman had the one phone. Yeah, it's just a mess. I mean, what do they say? The past is prelude, both in macro and micro versions of our life.
Isn't it? Here, Wally got busted by a Ramsey County sheriff in a pickup bed.
No.
Having a good old time.
That's a tough one. That's not good.
No.
You don't want to be.
No.
Yeah, no. So on the KQ Facebook page, someone wrote, my friend showed up to her boyfriend's wedding.
Oh.
Connie wrote that one. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I guess those wedding invitations, they do get out and get public.
Yeah.
Things happen.
That is, man. Whew.
What are you going to do? Back to better, sunnier climes. The Timberwolves with that massive comeback last night to get to the Western Conference Finals. I believe we have some of the Minnesota legislature last night hearing about the win. Is that right, Zep?
Yes, we do. I am so on that right now. You can't believe how on that I am right now. Here it is. Oh, see, I had the other Minnesota. Here it is. Yeah, late last night after the game was over, they're still in their session trying, they're like teenagers, like me, trying to get everything done at the very last second, and the announcement came in.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, the Minnesota Timberwolves just won Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals.
First of all, I know it's got to be a tough job. They're hammering it all out, but these people are so fat. Our lawmakers are so fat. It's just funny if you can find the video on Twitter or X, just watching them try to get out of their seats and clap. It's really quite funny. Yeah, they're just huge people. Taking
that fat cats thing a little too literally. Is that what you're saying?
Truly are. Yeah.
One good news out of Minnesota, from the world of Minnesota lawmakers, they have reached an agreement. Governor and the House and Senate, they reached an agreement on Saturday that will increase Uber and Lyft drivers' pay. Both rideshare companies will stay in business in the state. And it's funny, when we found out a couple months ago, Uber and Lyft were on the way out, a wise sage, a member of the local media, said, nope, they're going to figure it out. They'll never let this happen. And that man's name was Brian Zepp. Well called, Brian.
I mean, these things, it always comes down to money. And when push comes to shove, listen, Uber, I think Lyft's still on the outside, but they'll fall into line. And, at the end of the day, they're going to have to open up that wallet. Scrooge is going to have to give them a little bit more money, which means we'll have to pay more money. I mean, Lyft and Uber, that ain't that America for you and me. That's how that's going to work. So the rides will go up a little bit. They'll make a few more bucks, but we're going to be able to get home and to the party safely and responsibly.
Which is a good thing ultimately for everybody.
Yeah,
make no mistake about it.
And they're so entrenched. I like new business. I like competition. I like the free market system and these new ones coming in. But the learning curve and getting them up and running would have been a pain in the ass. Maybe more of a winter thing to do, but. Or maybe I start looking at them now. But, yeah, the ones that are entrenched, that are already in the phones and all linked up to all of our accounts and we're familiar with, they're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. So bringing this thing all right back to the beginning, a dog ate a thong. It turned out not to be the owner's thong. It was the mistress's thong, and all hell broke loose. But speaking of thongs, okay?
Yeah.
Our undergarments, it's important to know what you're getting into when selecting your underwear. You need to know if you're wearing it correctly. First things first, does anybody here wear cotton underwear? That's silk and synthetic fabric. See, they don't breathe like cotton does, and that can be a breeding ground for bacteria. So cotton is really what you want to be looking for. When I go with an undergarment, it's always cotton. Just going to say that right now. Just no problem in bending it.
I just don't know what my underwear is made out of, I guess. What's that really stretchy stuff? It's like Under Armour, right? I think that's what I'm going with. That's not cotton.
Lycra.
Yeah, is that Lycra?
Spandex.
Commando.
As long as with the Lycra especially, you got to keep, as long as you're keeping it clean. Another problem for a lot of people is wearing the wrong size. If it's too big, it looks saggy and messy, of course, but too tight is worse because it can cause chafing and irritation.
Yeah, well,
chafing.
Good.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Plus, I think you're supposed to let the boys, if you're trying to have a baby, they would always say, don't wear tight underwear.
That's right.
Is that just something? Yeah, that might have been an old urban myth, wives' tale.
No.
Keep them cool.
Yeah, you got to let them. Yeah, you don't want to constrict them.
No, there's a vast difference between wearing loose and. See what I did there? The vast difference. No, there's a big. You got to keep them loose and floppy if you want to. If you want to carry on the family line.
Let's be honest. We don't want to rob the public of our wild adjustments that we like to make in public all the time.
And also, by the way, it's fine to wear pajamas, as Hugh Hefner would have said. Pajamas. It's fine to sleep with pajamas, but don't wear your tights. Don't wear your briefs. Don't wear the underwear. You need to keep that area. You got to have airflow. You know what I mean? Trapped moisture down there. Trapped moisture in the groin area can lead to an awful lot of problems. Just gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
Let me see that thong.
I grew up as we all did. Playing sports, being an active kid, and I was unaware of the fact that jock itch was a real thing. I never experienced it. I didn't know anybody that. I did see a friend at Athlete's Foot once, and it's basically the same thing. But I had a friend in high school whose feet were like green, and we were all like, ah! But I had never known anybody to say, no, I legitimately got a case of jock itch until I got jock itch. And I'm not talking 35 years ago. I'm talking 4 years ago.
I'm impressed you're still wearing jocks 4 years ago.
It wasn't even from a jock. It was just pandemic. I got nothing to do, climbing the walls. I start back I'm working out. I'm power walking and then starting to jog a little bit. And I'm working out. And it was just a few days. I'd come in and not take a shower right away, but I'd take my clothes off and then put on other clothes and go cut the grass, whatever. There's a lot of sweat, a lot of who cares. And it literally was just a couple days in a row of the same clothes. And when I say a couple, I mean, let's be gross, probably 4 or 5, where I just wore the same shorts and underwear to go work out in. Yeah. And then one day I'm just, I'm like, I'm kind of itching down there, kind of itch. And I just, there it was. I gave myself jock itch as a man in my early 50s. Absolutely astounding. And let me tell you something. Takes a while to get rid of.
Yeah, uncomfortable.
Really.
I mean, can you even put underwear on after that? Seems to me you have to have some I don't know. They're definitely going with the sweats. You got to dry it out a little bit too.
Oh yeah. You got a lot of. There's a lot of topical applications and a lot of airflow. Walking around the house, in a robe, so you can just open it and just every corner you turn, you make sure the kids aren't in the room. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I didn't want to scar anybody.
651-989 Rock. Talking text, Tony.
Brady from Big Lake has a story about a panty-hungry pit bull.
Are there any details that you haven't already covered with that, or do we need more information? Oh my gosh, a panty-hungry pit bull.
Yeah.
There's a joke about the pop star pit bull in there somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah. What do you got for us? Who's on the horn?
Brady.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. How you doing this morning?
We're good, brother. We appreciate the call. What have you got for us?
You're talking about that puppy getting a pair of panties stuck in its stomach. Because back mid to late 90s, me and the family moved out to Sioux Falls, showered some money on me for work. I had 2 red-nosed pit bulls, and the older of the two, Sadie, boy, my wife couldn't take her panties off without that dog snatching them, swallowing them in one go.
Sounds like you had some competition.
Oh yeah. She just loved the panties. So and then I'd take those dogs walking all over Sioux Falls, and every time it rained, next day you go out for a walk, and the neighborhood would be just littered with my wife's panties.
Like Johnny Appleseed.
They came out in the wash.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Pretty good. Every now and again, they'd be out and the dog would be having a hard time. I just put my toe on the tip of them, give her a little kick in the ass. Little yelp, and away she'd go, and like nothing happened.
I doubt, knowing women like I do a little bit, I doubt that any of them made it back to the home to be reused.
No, none of them made them back to the home. I'm assuming the neighbors just started collecting them.
Oh my gosh! There are folks in the Sioux Falls area still telling that story from their side. Make no mistake about it. Remember that time all those panties kept turning up in the front yard? Oh yeah.
Yeah, now they know why.
That's exactly right. Well, thank you, brother. We appreciate you clarifying that. Mystery solved. Thank you, Brady.
I mean, is that all he ate was just the panties? He just must have had a taste for it, I guess.
Brady's going for a walk. He has the poop bag in one hand and a handful of panties in the other. It's my pup.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. If I saw that guy walking down the street, my first thought wouldn't be, I bet his dog keeps eating panties and he's got to pick him up. I would assume. No kidding. I would assume that what's that old Dirty Harry line? Yeah, well, when I see a guy with a Bible in one hand and his joint in the other, I shoot the bastard. I don't know. There's something about that.
Pretty close.
I'm paraphrasing a bit. When I see a guy with a poop bag in one hand and a pile of panties in the other, I shoot the bastard. That's my policy. That's what I'm trying to say.
I like it.
Man, these things happen. Hey, this just in. The KQ Karaoke Cruise is back, baby. We're going to float down the Mississippi River Friday, June 21st with Paddleford Riverboats featuring 2 karaoke stages, drinks with the KQ crew, and free food from Lucky's 13 Pub. Tickets are on sale right now at 92kqrs.com. Sponsored by Alexander Exteriors and Dennis Kirk. The KQ Karaoke Cruise, a perfectly fine time last summer. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was some good partying. Come aboard. And right now, if you would, on the KQ92 talking text line, callers 9 and 2 at 651-989 Rock. We're playing People Are Strange Like Us for tickets to Bagman. Our boy right here, June 14th at the Turf Club. Thank you to First Avenue for those tickets. Our runner-up today, kickoff to summer at the fair. That's May 23rd at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Prize provided by Minnesota State Fair. Yikes, that's coming up right here. 651-989 Rock. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Skills, talent, intuition, all will be required. Tony, what is today's test of strength?
It ain't never easy to win these fine prizes, but so worth it. We're going to do this. Yes, people are very strange. That includes all of us here in the studio.
No.
So I know, shocking but true. But what we did here is we came up with two things, real or fake, about ourselves that seem strange, weird, out of the ordinary, our personal quirks. And our contestants will guess if those quirks are genuine or if they're made up.
I like it. People are strange, and we are no exception, ladies and gentlemen.
So weird.
Let's get to it. Who is caller/contestant number one?
Caller number one is Matt from Waconia.
Matt, good morning, sir.
Hey now.
How you feeling, brother? How's your morning? You a Timberwolves fan?
Oh, way to go, Minnesota.
There you go.
Oh, and he gave it to us in the full Minnesota accent, too. You got to love that.
Couldn't be any better than that. All right, Matt, so you know the game we're playing, right? People are strange?
You betcha.
You betcha, ladies and gentlemen.
Cripes, yeah.
Yeah, hope. Well, let's get to it. We'll start off with Tony, and he's going to tell you something about himself. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, Matt has to determine whether you're telling the truth or not.
Telling the truth or made it up. All right, Matt. When I read with a dictionary or a dictionary app open for reference for difficult words.
Ooh, I think that's true.
You are correct. I do that.
Wait, you're not that smart?
I ain't
thought you
fancy
were
book smart. No.
I'm like this guy. He's like a walking.
Come on, man. You probably use that when you play Words with Friends too, and now I'm pissed.
Always. That's how you build the old vocabulary.
Took me for $500 on Words with Friends.
That's ready.
All right, Matt. Matt, strong start, brother. 1 for 1. All right, good luck with this one. Zepp, what do you got for Matt?
Hey, Matt, when I won the lottery, I was wearing mismatching socks. So now I only wear mismatching socks.
I'm going to pass on that one.
Yeah, no, I never won the lottery. That's why we're speaking. No mismatching socks. It occasionally happes, accidentally.
I won $4 a few months ago.
Nice.
I bought on a Powerball ticket. $4. So read them and weep.
Oh, you should have remained anonymous.
I know. You know what, though? Sometimes you just got to share good news.
Yeah, I'm going to call you for a loan later.
All right, Matt, you're in good shape. 2 for 2. Producer extraordinaire Ryder is up next. Ryder, what have you got for Matt?
Oh, boy. I only drink beers that start with the letter P, 2 of my favorites being Pabst Blue Ribbon and Greenbelt Premium.
Nope.
That is incorrect. No. In the words of Wally the Beer Man, the one time I met him, he said, my favorite beer is the one that's free. So, yeah, that's for me.
Wow.
Nice.
Matt, you're on a tear. 3 for 3. Well done, sir. All right, here's your last chance. I'll share something about myself with you, sir. When I shower, all right, I get under the water, I soak myself, I get every square inch of my body soaking wet, then I turn the water off, soap and shampoo everything, then turn the water back on to rinse. I learned that on an island years ago. Water was scarce, and that's how they asked us to shower, and I realized I prefer that method to keep I'd rather do that than keep the water running, so I've maintained that protocol ever since.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, heck yeah, but no, sir.
Oh, come on, man.
Sorry.
That would have been weird to be around.
Yes.
I mean, I would have just looked at you way differently. I wouldn't have judged you so much, just tried to figure it out.
It did happen it was happening on the island, and then I got home, and I did continue it for a few days, and then I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Well,
half a point then?
Yeah.
No, you don't. I'm sorry to say, but 3 out of 4 is pretty darn good, brother. So very well played, Matt. That's about as good as this game ever gets around here. We're going to put you on hold for a second. It's time for contestant caller number 2. Who have we got?
Let's welcome Gary from Minneapolis. Gary,
good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
How you feeling? You happy about those Timberwolves?
Oh, very happy. That's a good thing there.
Yeah,
they got it going on.
They certainly do. All right, sir. Well, you got Bagmen tickets on the table, and we are playing People Are Strange. I wish you the best of luck. Tony's going to tell you something about himself, and we're off and running.
All right, Gary.
Okay.
Gary, after the morning show for extra dough, I am a dog walker. 3 times a week, I have up to 5 dogs in leashes around the Twin Cities parks.
That's true.
That is nonsense.
You clearly don't know how lazy radio people are.
I knew it wasn't true, but I loved picturing it for a few seconds there. It made me happy.
Our dog wrangler.
I was literally picturing like Tony doing that with a balloon dog blown up and wrapped around his head. That's the image that came to mind.
Nice.
Today, perhaps.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Gary, get back on the horse, brother. Zepp, what do you got?
Gary, for a couple of reasons, I feel guilty when I take a nap and will often lie about it.
True.
Yeah, I will, because when I was a kid, I was a normal teenager. I wanted to nap all the time. But on the farm, you're supposed to be working, but I would sneak away and nap. And I did the same thing in the Army, serving my country. Often looking for a place to hide and nap. And so, yeah, I still to this day will often lie about it for no reason.
The guilt.
Nobody cares if I took a nap or not.
Oh, man.
I didn't take a nap. Nope.
All right, Zepp. Well, Gary sees right through your nonsense. That's what we've learned here today. Well done, Gary. You're back on track, 1 out of 2. Ryder, what have you got for Gary?
Okay, Gary, here's the deal. I was actually born with a third nipple. And then at some point, like the doctor was kind of concerned that maybe it was like malignant or something like that. So they took it off. But I had that phantom limb syndrome. So I still wear a pasty to this day. No laughing.
Not true.
It is not true. No.
Not
I
true.
kind of wish that it was.
I should have shut my mic off. Yeah.
Tasty.
Yeah, we're still getting to know Ryder. I would have said true.
I rarely find myself speechless, but yeah, didn't see that one coming. That's like a comet, you know. You're like, how come NASA didn't tell me this was coming?
Yeah, she's one of us.
Well done, Ryder. Well done, Gary. You're 2 for 3. All right, finally, it's coming down to it's up to me. All right, here we go. All right, so we're playing for Bagman tickets. That's my band. I've been playing drums for many years, Gary. When I'm playing a gig, if I make an obvious mistake, like I just totally botch a drum fill, get it all screwed up, come in backwards, anytime I do something that's clearly not intended, I will repeat it shortly thereafter to make it look like I meant to do it the first time.
True.
Absolutely true, Gary. Very well played. That's every musician's best friend, that lesson. If you screw something up, do it again and say you meant to do it. Oh, boy. Well, Gary, you're 3 for 4, tying Matt at 3 for 4, which means, gentlemen, we are going to enter into tiebreaker zone. I'm assuming Tony Lee is prepared for this eventuality.
I am, with an important fact to debate.
Already?
Here's your tiebreaker question.
So we'll get a question, and Matt, I'll ask you to answer first, and then we'll get Gary's answer.
All right. How many post offices are there in India?
17.
Matt says 17.
All right.
Gary, what do you got? How many post offices are there in India?
I'd say about 10.
10. India
went low.
The country with over 1 billion people. What do we got, Tony?
A lot of postcards and stuff. The correct answer is 280,181. So you're just a little off.
Holy yeah.
But that means Matt is closer to the actual answer. Therefore, Matt has won tickets to see Bagman June the 14th at the Turf Club. Gary, we're not going to let you leave empty-handed. You've got tickets to kick off to Summer at Fair, May 23rd. At the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Gentlemen, thank you both for listening and for calling in and playing.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right.
Man. They lowballed the number of post offices in India. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
How these things happen.
Who knew?
Yeah.
You know, Zepp, you mentioned the nap thing. I've never lied about napping, at least not as an adult, but as a kid, I had the same thing. Like in my house, if you were napping on a Saturday or Sunday instead of, begging to rake more leaves or something, it was it was problematic. I got busted. I was cutting the grass, push mower doing the trim just around the trees. My older brothers there was a riding lawnmower, but I wasn't old enough to be trusted with it yet. So I have the push mower, and I'm just the guy circling the base of the trees and then pulling out the weed eater as well. Mm-hmm. And we had a rope hammock between 2 pine trees. and I would go out and I would cut around each pine tree and then under the hammock. And I was awakened by the sound of my dad yelling at me, "Wake up!" And I was in that hammock, sound asleep with the lawnmower on.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm trimming around it, and I'm like, I'm just going to lay down here for 1 second and just see out cold.
Well, those damn hammocks, come on. That's not playing fair. Nobody gets in one of those and, can stay awake for more than 3, 2, good night.
It would. I would find it funny if there was video of my father's the walk from the garage. He's in the carport, looks up and recognize what the hell, and then just that walk across the backyard.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure that was just absolutely hilarious.
Oh.
Like in his mind, all he's thinking is, he better have been shot.
My dad would tell me, now listen, we're out there on the tractor, Brian. Now listen, if you get tired, be safe. Just stop and take a nap. Yeah, we got to get the work done, but I want you to be safe out there. So what would I do? I would stop and take a nap. All of a sudden, I'd wake up and the pickup would just be sitting there. I'd be like, oh, and Dad, what are you doing? Well, I'm taking a nap. Taking a nap? Oh, we got to get these plants in. There's a rainstorm. I'm like, but you said, yeah. So, yeah, I was just shocked into it. In the Army, they can't. They catch you napping in the Army, there are going to be consequences. So just last week, someone came over to work on the air conditioner. I was napping. Knock at the door. I was like, oh, that's right, the air conditioner. I run to the door. I was like, hey, I was just doing some laundry. What? First of all, he doesn't care what I was doing.
Right,
I answered, but I feel like I still have to lie about it occasionally. I don't know. It's just, it's in my DNA now.
Yeah, sure.
I'm conditioned. Pavlovian.
100%. Yeah, I grew up under suspicion, and to this day, if we're at the station, if we're at KQ, and someone's like, "Hey, did anybody see that bag of Cheez-Its?" I immediately think they think I did it.
We know you did it.
Yeah, exactly. That's oh my God, they busted me. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't take anyone's Cheez-Its. I will immediately act guilty regardless of circumstance. We were talking earlier in the show about a funny story a veterinarian shared about a dog showing up, had blockage in its tummy. Surgery was required, and they pulled out a woman's thong. The only problem was the dog's owner. She didn't wear thongs. She called her husband, and that was the end of that relationship, as apparently someone else was wearing thongs in her home when she wasn't there. And we've gotten a lot of responses about, A, people getting busted for cheating, but B, also the things our animals like to eat. On the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. Here's a text. I put my jeans on for work one morning. They felt a little airy. My dachshund ate a 12-inch round hole right out of the crotch. No more clothes on the floor for me.
Well, crotchless. It's the summer season. It's hot out. It's sweaty. That's just nice and can be sexy, I think.
Another text, this from Liz. There were 3 girls in my family. When we were growing up, we had a few dogs. Every single one of them chewed the crotch out of our underwear, and we had to constantly pull them out of her butt because she couldn't poop them out. This was an everyday occurrence. I mean, that's what hampers are for. That's what, taller shelving is for. I mean, you got to be, come on, help the dog. It can't help itself.
No
That's
kidding.
a rough one.
Yeah, that is a rough one. That Fry, that Australian Shepherd that eats everything, the hairbrush, ate a bunch of, makeup's very expensive. Every time I say that, women nod emphatically. Yes, it is very expensive. I understand this. And she had just ordered like $100 worth of makeup. That's a lot for, a young gal. And the dog ate all of it. Every bit of it. She put it up on the dresser. He figured out how to get up on the dresser and knock it off, ate all of it, and sat there and just moaned and whined all day. And I said, well, he learned his lesson. You won't have to worry about that again.
No.
But yes, he did it again. I'm like, how can they be so smart and so stupid? And yes, I'm talking about teenagers. No, but yeah, dogs. I'm like, he did it again?
Yeah.
Moron.
That's the magic of man's best friend. If Chauncey were to, I don't have to worry about these sort of things happening right now. I'm very happy to say in my life. But if Chauncey were to eat a thong, and get me busted, I would question the universe. I would have to take a long, hard look in the mirror and say, what does it say about me that my dog busted me for doing something wrong? I mean, if your dog is busting you, then literally the cosmos has aligned itself to say, dude, you got to make some changes in life. Your own dog doesn't have your back. I mean, come on, man.
How about this one? You think a dog's bad? How about your septic tank busting you? Scott on the KQ Facebook page. Guy had his septic tank pumped out, was home to watch, asked what those floating things were. Long story short, they were condoms. He said to his wife and him, he said they didn't use them and they did not have any kids. The septic guy said he drove by a month later and the house was up for sale.
Sure.
One can only speculate. I had a buddy that got busted one time because she found a condom wrapper in the kitchen. I'm like, dude, that's wild. He goes, it wasn't a condom wrapper. It was the corner off the packet of ramen noodles. It was the ramen noodle powder, but if you just tear off a little bit of it, it's a silver plastic about that size, condom size. She thought she had busted him. She did. Eating ramen in the middle of the day.
Wow. Well, that's funny because I used to use condoms that came with that ramen powdered packet flavoring included.
It's optional, of course.
And so I can see that where that confusion would come in. That makes perfect sense.
I'm sure I've had more ramen. I've tore open more of those packets in my life.
Oh, what are you kidding? It's like 1,000 to 1 ratio in my life, even more so. Good Lord.
Got a text here. I put my jeans on for work. One morning, they felt a little airy. My dachshund had ate a 12-inch round hole out of the crotch. No more clothes on the floor. Out of the crotch.
Even better the second time.
Yeah, I had a buddy's dog who would just eat all the buttons off your shirt.
Yeah.
All my flannel shirts, I'd be like, what in the... Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, sorry. It was one of those little dogs, too. I don't know which breed it was. But, yeah, that little sucker just ate buttons. And you didn't find the buttons. They digested the buttons, and I wasn't going through poop in the yard, but... Yeah, just ate the buttons off all your shirts.
Wonderful news last night out of Denver, Colorado. The Minnesota Timberwolves have advanced to the Western Conference Finals. Anthony Edwards, the 22-year-old rising superstar, he has a deal with the Timberwolves for 5 years where he's going to average $40 million per season, and it is an absolute bargain, and I'll tell you why. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, May the 20th. Running down a dream, Tom Petty. Tom Petty was 11 years old, and Elvis Presley was shooting a film in Ocala, Florida. And Tom's dad took him to the set, and he watched Elvis Presley on is a film called Follow That Dream. And Tom Petty referenced it many times and said that's a day that his dream was really started in earnest. Like, man, how do I do that? How do I get to be Elvis?
You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
But you can be Tom Petty.
Yeah, you can certainly be Tom Petty, and he did okay with that. I probably once every couple weeks out of the blue, and not when I'm hearing a Tom Petty song, but just in going about my business, I'll just go, I can't believe Tom Petty's gone. It just hits me like, wait, what? That's just never going to add up. It's never going to make sense to me. In the list of all-time things that don't make a lot of sense, how in the world do you explain the Minnesota Timberwolves' Game 7 victory over the Denver Nuggets? The entire series, as we and everybody else has been saying, never made sense. I mean, we go out and win 2 games in Denver. Denver comes and wins 2 games here and Game 5 at home. And then Game 6, the defending champs can put us out of our misery, and the Wolves win by 35, and then it goes back to Game 7, and the Wolves are down 15 at half, down 20 early in the third quarter, and against all odds, like Delta Tau Chi with the Deathmobile at the end of Animal House, they pull victory from the jaws of defeat. They go on, they come back, and they win a game that is an incredibly impressive accomplishment, especially when you think the fact that Anthony Edwards didn't do it himself. He didn't do much of it on the offensive end. He was off all night. His shot was off. He never found his rhythm. Anthony Edwards had 4 points at halftime. Mm-hmm. And here's the craziest thing I've heard about Anthony Edwards in a season-long list of crazy things about how great this kid is turning into in front of our very eyes. The team is 8-1 when he has less than 5 points in the first half, which tells you that when he's off, the other guys step up. He changes his focus to defense, rebounding, passing, and overall just motivational speaking. He's the Anthony Robbins of the team, much less the Anthony Edwards of the team. I mean, he's amazing. He's
seen his hands.
Yeah, that's
Huge.
exactly
Personal
right.
power.
Just catcher mitts on
That
both
jaw
arms.
of his, yeah.
Anthony Edwards, at 22 years old, is so clearly the leader of this team in all the ways you would hope for. An absolute superstar in the making, and he's got the Olympics ahead of him this summer. The entire world's about to discover the greatness that is Anthony Edwards. And as I said before, at $40 million a year for a 5-year deal, we will look back on this at the end of that contract and say, what a bargain. Didn't lose his confidence, didn't slump his shoulders. You didn't see his body language turn. He wasn't complaining to the refs. He just adjusted, focused on what he could do. Again, defense, rebounding, passing the ball, keeping everyone else motivated, and a huge cheerleader for, most importantly, Karl Anthony Towns, who's, I don't know, what's the word? Mercurial?
Head case?
Confounding? I'm trying to think of the words you say when you want to support the guy, but you really want to smack him in the head. Yeah, Cat is up and down. He's a roller coaster ride all to himself, but he's got Ant's support vocally right in his face, keeping him going. It was just one of those games, honestly, that when you look back on a 22-year-old kid and go, man, he led the team without scoring. That's very, very special. I'm in on this team. The team is in on the team. It's a great moment last night for the Wolves.
And, I mean, they're nearly as entertaining after the game as they are during the game.
This is for either one of you guys. And usually in NBA history, it says you have to lose and lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says
We lost last year.
Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams usually.
It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We lost the last 2 years. Shit.
God damn. How much more we got to lose?
Yeah, how much you want us to lose?
We're losing for 20 years.
I mean, that's just the truth, dog.
God damn.
So funny. They're like, hey, man, I don't care if it's the finals or the first round. Losing in the playoffs sucks, and we keep doing it now. For the first time in 20 years, they find themselves winning a Game 7. They are in the Western Conference Finals. Interesting, real quick, and then we can move on. But in the NBA, this is the 6th straight year that there will not be a repeat champion. And this is the first time in modern NBA history, there's 4 teams left. There's not a single current or past MVP still playing. So what that says is for everybody, and I know a lot of folks, I have friends in my life, I know a lot of our listeners are probably like, I don't watch the NBA anymore. Somewhere along the line, they lost it. Listen, this is the start of a new golden era. The talent, because of the world, it's become a world game. It's a wonderful time in the league right now. The deepest benches the league has ever seen. The deepest amount of talent. Get back on board, especially because the Wolves are 4 wins away from getting to the NBA Finals. They do have home court advantage. If it comes down to 7 games with Dallas, you got to feel pretty good about hosting Game 7. I'm very excited about this.
Mm-hmm. That is true. The players now, too, they're becoming just exciting cultural icons, too. You don't have just a handful of stoic superstars. These are guys that are igniting interest.
No, they're feeling great. Another great bit of information. I mean, so this is a great day for Minnesota. Also in local news, Uber and Lyft they worked out a deal with the state. They're not going to leave. You'll still be able to get a rideshare service that you know and trust when you don't want to be driving your own car. I think that's a good thing for everybody. Also, the Minnesota Senate has been debating the legality, this is, and probably more important than anything else we've discussed today, the legality of eating beaver. Senator Nathan Wessenberg from Little Falls had something to say about it.
We can't eat beaver. That's just ridiculous. I think maybe it got overlooked. I don't know what happened there. What are we talking about? We're talking about the legalities of eating beaver. That's just ridiculous. So I eat beaver. It's fine. No one's going to get in trouble for doing it. I don't know why this is in the bill.
Where was beaver eat, I guess.
Yeah, where was that guy when I was in high school? Maybe still in Utah, not allowed. But here, in a more progressive part of the world, eat beaver, guys.
Encouraged, as a matter of fact. But why the hell is our legislature bringing up? How does that end up in the legislature? Not being able to eat beaver.
To me, it almost sounds like that was like, someone called the airport phone and said, "Can you page Michael Hunt, please?" Mike Hunt. It's one of those, where you get a guy up there who has to say, well, I think he said it best. Why we're discussing eating beaver. I eat beaver. It's fine to eat beaver. He said eat beaver like 11 times. It was great.
I hope so. Either that or it's just some super over silly sensitive politicians, of which we have 10,000 here in Minnesota.
We can't eat beaver. That's just ridiculous. I think maybe it got overlooked. I don't know what happened there. What are we talking about? We're talking about the legalities of eating beaver. That's just ridiculous. So I eat beaver. It's fine. No one's going to get in trouble for doing it. I don't know why this is in the bill.
All right.
Having never eaten beaver myself, the beaver meat from the guy with the teeth. Anyway, I had to look it up. Beaver meat, similar to elk or bison, beaver meat apparently has a deep, woodsy character without any off flavors.
Makes sense.
So there you have. I mean, we're definitely talking about the dam building woodland mammal, the beaver here. Sort of game meat you can serve to someone who claims not to like game meat. It's what beef should be. Okay. Fair enough.
All right, but I guess so. I mean, I've skinned a lot of beavers, but we never ate them, I guess. We're just taking the little stink sack out of them. They use it for trapping.
Is that true?
Yeah, I skinned. That was one of my summer jobs one year in South Dakota. They would just bring in these big truckloads of beaver, and we just sit there and skin beaver all day. But yeah, never thought about eating them.
Beef stroganoff, beef bourguignon, beef stew, beef brisket.
Yeah. Beaver's long been my favorite rodents, but I didn't have. I mean, that was my childhood family nickname was Beaver, so there's always been a soft spot. It's always been a soft spot for the beaver. Little guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's a honey of an ankle bracelet. We could quote Naked Gun all day around here, which is either a good or a bad thing. I'm not sure which.
Elvis is growing up or Elvis is dead and the beaver is growing up. Wasn't that the line from the movie?
Makes sense, sure. I also like the when he asks Frank Drebin asks her on the date and he says, "I know a great little." He's asking her to go to dinner. I know a great little out of the way place that serves wonderful Viking food.
Right.
Long been a favorite line of mine. So here, let me ask you this: when you take vacation, when you check out, let's say we're taking a week off. Friday, we turn the microphones off, we leave the studio. Are you instantly gone? Am I mentally checked out, or do you have to get where you're going? Do you have to get away before you can chill?
Nope. I every day I leave this place, I'm starting a vacation until tomorrow morning. Yeah.
That's how I feel as well. Yeah. I mean, on Friday, I'm like, hey, I don't have to say much for a couple days. This will be great. I'm always aware of that. But I'm asking because apparently a lot of people in a poll said they can't really relax until they are 1,000 miles away from their boss.
What? Why?
I don't really know. 1 in 5 people said they're more likely to check email and answer work calls if they're closer than that. But there's something about being 1,000 miles or more away where they then allow themselves to get away a little bit more. They don't check email as often. If they see a work call, they won't check the voicemail right away. These are people who are literally on vacation, but they're like, but if I'm vacationing too close to home, I still feel connected to the office.
Yeah, that's, you're putting too much. Maybe they have important jobs, that is on their mind. There's some gravity. There's some importance to it that, oh my God, if that doesn't get done, somebody's going to,
That's why I'm asking you guys. I mean, what are you suggesting? That this is not an important job?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
He's providing an invaluable service by offering up platter after platter of nonsense every day of the week around here.
This town would come unglued without our nonsense. Our crack producer over here, Ryder, put out some places to visit about 1,000 miles from Minneapolis. You'll start feeling comfortable when you get to Montreal. You'll start feeling detached from work when you get to Central Park. But unfortunately, you'll be in Central Park. Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Charleston, Savannah. If you don't want to get away from the humidity, you could go there. New Orleans.
I was going to suggest it's already too late for Charleston and Savannah. You're gonna be in a flop sweat situation from the minute you get on that jetway until you land back in Minneapolis this time of year. You don't want to mess with that at all.
Could be a lateral move. Maybe a lot of good golfing down there. I got a buddy that lives down there. Good
That's
golfing.
very true.
Salt Lake City, if you want to go west. 1,000 miles away. There you go. You'll start feeling comfortable once you get to Salt Lake City, but you won't be able to get...
That's only 1,000 miles from Minneapolis?
It says here 987 miles west of Minneapolis.
Oh, come on. Is that possibly true? You spent a lot of time in Utah. Is that add up to you?
As a matter of fact, I drove that, and it was from Utah to Golden Valley. I think it was about 1,200 miles, but I wasn't in Salt Lake City, so I can't say for certain, but... Maybe that's as the crow flies.
That just feels like more. It certainly feels like another planet.
That's also because you drive through Nebraska or South Dakota or whatever to get there. That feels like that's a long trip through some of those states. There's not a lot to look at.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Nothing out there.
I know that Nashville, Tennessee is 900 miles. I've learned that lesson over the last year and a half.
Yeah, you have. Yeah,
that's a 900 miler for me. But an easy drive. It's what you do.
Maybe it's just a state of mind. When you get to your destination, now you feel like you're on vacation and you're detached. And anywhere in that point till you get that 1,000 miles away to your destination, some people get called back. I've had friends do that. We're on vacation and they'll have to leave like the next day. Now I got to go back to work. I'm like, what the frickin'? But they do have important jobs.
Yeah. That's all very true. If anybody was thinking. That you want to get in on the Kirk, take advantage of the fact that Kirk Cousins is now an Atlanta Falcon, and maybe you want to be the kind of person who says, "Hey, I live in Kirk Cousins' old house." You're too late. Apparently, Cousins' home has been sold. Kirk Cousins lived on Andrea Trail in the Inver Grove Heights area. So I got to give Kurt, hey, props to Kirk Cousins. The guy has made a fortune. He was getting paid a veritable fortune by the Minnesota Timberwolves, but went very low key.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves for the Vikings.
Brother, you got Timberwolves on the brain, and you're allowed to today.
Mm-hmm. But he went very low key with his home.
Yeah.
He bought it in 2018 for $738,000. It's a 5,300 square foot home. Now, that's a large house.
Yeah.
I've never had a house close to that big. But I don't make $20, $30, $40 million a year either. Keeping it real, living at a place in Dakota County that's, nothing about it says, look at me, I'm the quarterback for the Vikings. Sold it for $1.25 million. So on top of all the money he made in town, he made money leaving town. It's a nice little
He's good at making money.
And he had a garage sale, which was very profitable as well.
That is a tidy profit on the sale of the home and all that Michigan State swag he was able to get rid of at the garage sale.
Yeah, well, I mean, he lived. We had the story last year. One of his neighbors would go over and, was it shovel or mow for him? It must have been shoveling if it was football season. Otherwise, it was early in the season. But he'd go over and shovel out his driveway for him or whatever when he was on town on road games. You don't get that if your neighborhood is too rich. Your neighbor is not coming over to shovel for you. First of all, you probably have...
shovel.
No, they don't shovel. Yeah. The help might come over and help shovel. But, a down-to-earth guy. Listen, no one wanted to see Kirk Cousins wash out here. He's just such a good guy. He almost seemed like a Minnesotan. I don't know where he comes from. California originally, I think. He might have been born there.
Right.
But you thought, you're a Minnesota guy. You've just been missing Minnesota your whole life. But he couldn't get the job done.
just didn't have what it took, man. But I'm curious as to who bought his house, because I know this. I lived in Los Angeles briefly. If you are looking for a house in Los Angeles, if anybody remotely famous ever had lunch in that house, the realtor will mention it.
Oh, of course.
I mean, it's astounding. My wife and I were looking for a house in 2002, and the one that really jumped out. We went to a house, and it was just this. It was in like what's the neighborhood called? Oh, who cares? Whatever. Hancock Park, and it was a little like a 1,200 square foot home. Perfect. We had we have a toddler, a baby on the way. Nice little fenced in backyard, and we walk into this house, and the realtor met us, and she goes, "Now this is out there. This is like a great house for an artist." And right away, I'm like, "Okay, never mind. I'm not interested." And we walked in, and on the inside, the whole thing had a flow to it. Like there were no doorways or doors. Every room led to another room, and there were no just regular door frames. They were all ajar, and like it just looked like a melted candle that you lived inside of. Like that's the only way I can possibly describe it. Yeah. And she's like, "Well, this was Christopher Lloyd's house." Oh. Christopher Lloyd, Back to the Future, Taxi.
Yeah, sure.
He worked to design this, and it's just so. And I mean, I kid you not, the house was priced at twice what it should have been.
I mean, if he was still living in the basement for a good time, would, hang out with you or something.
And I remember thinking, like, okay, that's an interesting thing to mention, like once maybe if I said, anybody famous ever live here? But it was like the selling point. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, like, who's going to buy a house to then be able to say, "Hey, Christopher Lloyd built this house"? I just couldn't get over it. And from there, we went to a house closer to where we ended up living out in the valley, and it was being sold by Gilby Clarke, who was the other guitarist in Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
And same thing, this was a little like mid-century ranch. Same thing, little house, little 3-bedroom, 1,300 square feet, perfect for a little family. And the realtor was like, "Well, this was the guy in Guns N' Roses, Gilby Clarke. And I'm just thinking, yeah, but so what? Like, do I get to be in Guns N' Roses if I move in?
Right.
What is the selling point to that? I just didn't understand it on any level.
No.
And the house we ended up getting, and the realtor never understood that I was just jerking her chain, but we found this house and we really liked it. And I said, so like no one famous ever lived here? No one ever? And she's like, "Not that I see in the notes." I go, "Well, could you find out?" And she's literally like, "Yeah, let me. You know what? I am. I'm gonna talk to this." And I'm kidding. I don't care. I couldn't possibly.
She was
care
panicking.
less.
Oh my God.
Oh, she really was.
I'll never show a house that a celebrity hasn't walked into before. That was humiliating.
Oh, it was the worst thing. Can you imagine? I can't believe I sold it.
We flip that philosophy here in Minnesota. A lot of realtors will go out. I know the John Schuster Group. A lot of his guys and gals will go out when they're selling a place, and they'll say, "You know what? It's a wonderful place, and guess what? Woody did not live here." Never been here, not once.
Very important.
Yeah, it's never even been in the neighborhood. Doesn't even know this house is here. It's good to go.
It's an important disclaimer.
Yeah,
Not only have none of the KQRS staff worked here, you can't. We have a blocker. The signal doesn't come to the house.
Yeah, Zepp's never crawled into or out of any of these windows.
That's a very, very important selling point, I'm sure.
I think so.
But other than the one house we're talking about, you can stream 92 KQRS anywhere you go. Stream it on your phone, for crying out loud. Or, you know what? Our newly updated app is at the App Store. You can simply look at a smart speaker and say, "Hey, play 92 KQRS," or search for it on the iHeartRadio app as well. Just keep listening to KQRS. It is with you. It is in your pocket as we speak, whether you know it or not.
I love it. Here's your headline coming up. Grandma groped Goofy. That's the headline. Grandma groped Goofy. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, May the 20th. Good morning. If you're just joining us, it's a great day for Timberwolves fans. Probably a really great day for Crunch the Wolf.
Oh, yeah, Crunch. That crazy son of a gun.
The official mascot of the Minnesota Timberwolves is not out of work yet. Still in business as the Timberwolves will be hosting Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals on Wednesday night. Look for Crunch the Wolf to be out there, making people happy, jumping around.
Yeah, he does.
Doing all the stuff he does. He comes out of the ceiling. He does the mini tramp stuff. I imagine he'll do a cartwheel occasion. Who knows? Crunch has got all sorts of tricks up his sleeve.
I wonder sometimes because Crunch is a lot of them are, but Crunch in particular, I've seen a few times over the years, and that is one athletic Crunch.
Yeah.
Now I know it's probably not one person, but I often think to myself, is that like what a gymnast? Is it it's got to be some sort of not professional athlete, but certainly, one hell of an athlete in there.
Oh,
in good
yeah.
shape anyway.
Oh, it got to be.
Oh, it's the game has changed so much. In the mid-'80s, I was actually offered a chance to audition to be the Western Kentucky University mascot, Big Red.
Come on.
Very famous mascot.
Really?
ESPN had Big Red in all their ads, and then a lot of the Sports Center ads. I mean, you've seen Big Red. Whether he's just a big red blob with a giant mouth, and he just like swallows.
Yeah, kind of
stuff.
wiggly.
Oh,
yeah,
you're not that. Come on, man.
No,
Don't describe yourself like that.
Listen, Big Red is. But here's the thing. But Big Red is historically. They have mascot awards. He wins a lot. I mean, it's a great mascot. And I knew some people in the program, the athletic department, and they were like, it's a half scholarship if you get the thing and you got to do the events and you could be great and all this. And I thought about it for a hot second, and then I was like, nah, I don't know, man. I'd be working for the man. I mean, I came up with some idea, and I think I was just more afraid of auditioning and not getting it than anything else.
Fair enough.
But I used to think to myself, but how cool would it be? Because at the time, this is not me bragging. This is me actually feeling horrible about how I've let myself go. But I used to be able to dunk a basketball with great ease, and I thought, well, if I could dunk a ball as Big Red, like when have you ever seen a mascot do that? No mini tramp, just literally the mascot go up and throw it down. And I thought, man, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And I never followed through. And then a year later, I was at a basketball game, and we were playing. This is we, meaning I went to school at Western Kentucky. The Ole Miss Rebels. Right? The SEC school, Mississippi, Ole Miss Rebels. And their mascot, it's just a dude dressed, for lack of a better term, he's like it looks like Colonel Sanders out there. Like, it's a student, but he's got the white wig and the white goatee and beard and the
big
suit.
Goofy hat. Yeah.
But a red, white, and blue, but he's just dressed like an old rebel, like old And their guy, the Old Miss Rebel, was doing like windmill dunks and like 180 dunks over his head. And I was like, I could have been out there as Big Red going dunk for dunk. And it kept me up at night. That night, I was like, I should have done it. I'm such a coward. I'll never back away from a challenge again. And Then I got up the next day and was completely over it. But anyway, I think about that when I see these mascots, and I think to myself, that's a thankless job because everyone loves you and nobody will ever know who you were. Nobody knows who the San Diego Chicken is to this day. The guy that invented the San Diego Chicken could walk in the studio right now and kick us all in the shins, and we would have no idea who he was. And now multiply that by 1 billion. Imagine that you're working at Disney and you're one of the Disney characters. You're Mickey or Minnie or Donald or Daffy or Goofy. I mean, those characters are so. I mean, not only does no one know who's in that mask, they don't care who's behind that mask. They're like, that's Mickey Mouse. I'm going to go get a picture taken with Mickey. And I'm thinking about this because this story out of Disney World, this one involves Goofy, the lovable dog that is Goofy. Everybody loves Goofy.
Is that what he is, a dog?
He's a big dog,
Goofy,
right?
Okay. All right. So there was a debate one day on the air. Some people thought he was a bear.
No.
All right, he's a dog.
Oh,
Doggy.
I mean, Pluto's a dog.
Yes.
So they have 2 dogs.
I mean, hang on. Now I'm confused here. No,
all right. I don't want to. Yeah, no. We'll stay on topic.
Goofy he's got to be a dog. He's just a big. He's just a big goofy ass dog. We've got it established. So at Disney World recently, there was an incident. Police were called in. A family of 4 wanted to get a family photo with Goofy. Okay, you've got. Among that family of 4 is a woman in her 60s. She's with one of her kids and some grandchildren. So grandma is one of the 4 people in a family photo. Grandma is to Goofy's left in the family photo, and grandma started groping Goofy's ass. three hardcore squeezes on Goofy's left butt cheek.
Wow.
And by the way, not only that, every time she squeezed Goofy's ass, she would scream, "Woohoo! Woohoo!" So Grandma's clearly no one's paying enough attention to her throughout the day. The person at Disney, they call them cast members. The cast member in the Goofy suit, not happy about it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
reported her.
Oh,
called the police.
Well, that's what.
And now says, I plan to press charges.
All right, dude. I know it's hot and sweaty in that thing, and you're probably not making squat or whatever, but I mean, don't you sign up for that, for crying out loud? You get, the kids, run into your crotch, step on your feet. Grandma gives you a goose. Relax. Come on.
Seems a bit much to me.
I mean, but I'm trying to think if it were a dad and it was a princess costume and there was a young lady.
Different story.
Okay,
yep,
you're right. All right. No double standards. I got it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm sure, and you can only imagine, I'm sure plenty of Minnie Mouses have had situations like that happen. And of course, the funny thing is we all assume the person in the costume is the same sex as the character.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I mean, who's to say? Who's to say it's not a dude playing Minnie Mouse and it's not a woman playing Goofy? So we don't really know.
Yeah, maybe I came at that from the wrong angle. The more I think about it is, all right, you're not making squat. You do have to put up with the kids, and they're just going to be unruly. You're going to take shots as kids, or they're going to cry when you're trying to make them laugh, and it's a long day. You don't need Grandma Goose in you.
You're still just at work.
Fair enough.
Very true. Disney character salary starts at $49K a year.
Oh, well,
$49K, it's a bag of peanuts, but at least it's salted peanuts, and but it's, I say that it's. But you're not, but like you said, Zeb, you're in a costume that other people are wearing too. There's not enough Febreze in the world to get you through a summer in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
In a costume, you are sweating buckets.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've heard the story go the other way too. We've had some mascots at Disney. There may have been some improprieties there, some touching. I always thought, well, they're in the costume. They can't see where they're putting their arm. But yeah, if it goes the other way, all hell's going to break loose. So yeah, you can't have that double standard. Grandma, I might remind you a lot of Grandpa, but hands off, I guess.
Yeah, I think that working at the parks like that's got to be one of those ultimate jobs that you just think would be the coolest thing in the world until you're on your third day. And then you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Right.
They're very regimented, too. It's almost like the military. They have to keep their hair a certain length. No accoutrements, jewelry and such. It's pretty
this
restricted.
Isn't Valley Fair, man. This is Disney. Yeah.
I've had two jobs that I thought would be cool as hell, and they were actually cooler once I got in there. The first was working at a pizza joint that everyone that worked there was in a local band, and then I got on staff. And working at a pizza place where you're drinking through every shift. The guy who owns it is also drinking right next to you. He's also in a band. It was just hell on wheels. It was a blast. But then a used record store gig. Used to walk in there and I'd look at those bitter ass, grumpy, judgmental people on staff and think that's the coolest job ever. And then I got that job and it was even cooler than I thought it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Nice.
You just argue about records all day long and to get $5 an hour. Are you kidding? I was in heaven.
I like that condescending tone if someone would walk in and ask for, where's the Engelbert Humperdinck? I'm trying to think of somebody who's really nerdy. That I'm going way back too far, but they're over there.
Oh, there was nothing better then. And this is late 80s, and there was new stuff available, but mostly used records, and the occasional person would stumble in and not know which store they were walking into, and they'd come up and be like, "Hey, do you have the new Madonna record?" And I just, not one word in response. I just stare at them.
Yeah, right. I went in one time and asked for a Springsteen record at a place in Minnesota, which will go unnamed because I like the place. And the guy goes, "Why?" I said, "Do you have the?" He goes, "Why?"
I love that.
Why do you want to know? I was like, "Well, I want to buy it." He goes, "Why would you want to do that?" I'm like, "Okay, all right,
great.
man, I get it. I know." ponytail's a little tight today. I get it.
Yeah, the other good answer was we had a bunch of them be like, "What? Did you break a window? You need to cover it up." Like, what do you want that record for?
Maybe.
Yeah, what in the world? What do you want? They got frisbees. There's a hippie store down the way with frisbees, dude. Just go down there and get one. Love that stuff. Okay, this also just in. Let's just take a quick detour into the dark reality of all my greatest fears coming to light. In West Virginia, a guy who was he's a candidate for the Secretary of State position, was taking down campaign signs. He was out and about running this errand, getting rid of some signs with his 7-year-old son. This just a couple days ago. Now, last week, there was an election Tuesday. He came up short. So he's not going to be Secretary of State. Now, to add insult to injury, he's got to go and find all of his signs around the county and pull them, get them out of the way. And so now to add injury to insult to injury, he steps on something. Well, we've got some audio. The man's name is Doug Scaff in Boone County, West Virginia.
I take 5 feet up into the hillside and grab one side of my side, and then boom, I just felt like I stepped on a barbed wire, and it penetrated through my shoe. I looked down, and there was a hole in my shoe. I didn't think anything of it. Then I went and grabbed the other side, kind of shook it off, like I must have stepped on something. And I went to the next side. I pulled the sign down. It hit me again. Another something sharp. I looked down. It was a copperhead snake. It just bit me. And then a second one popped up and bit me a second time within 5 seconds.
Son of a... What the...
I wouldn't even listen to Steve Earle's Copperhead Road just because that's how much I hated snakes. It's like, man, call it anything else. But I am so vigilant when walking anywhere in the South to look out for snakes, venomous snakes.
Yeah.
It is my greatest fear. And this guy not once but twice gets bit by a copperhead. The best case scenario, if this snake bites you, is your life's going to suck for a while.
Yeah.
Best case.
Yeah, sure is.
And especially... and they say too, probably a younger snake. You want the biggest snake possible to bite you, because the adults they know how to regulate the venom. Younger ones, they just sent the whole wad. They put all the venom they got right into your foot or wherever they get you. It is bad, man. I have spent way too much time down the YouTube rabbit hole watching people with snake bites because it's my greatest fear. So why not just stay awake all night staring in the dark? Terrified after subjecting myself to this torturous exercise.
Oh, man.
But yeah, watching that stuff, man, there's nothing that freaks me out more. And there are still snake handlers in churches in Appalachia, in eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, West Virginia. You can still find in those hollers, man. You'll walk into an old crazy church and there's a guy with a mason jar full of peach moonshine and a rattlesnake wrapped around his arm saying, Lord's gonna protect me. I mean, that's I'm telling you right now, if you want to scar me for life, just blindfold me and drop me off in one of those churches.
Oh, dang. I think just about anyone. And they say, I remember being in snake country. I'm like, well, I've heard, though, that, if you don't, if you just kind of look out for them, if you don't bother them, they won't bother you. That's absolutely true, unless it's copperhead. They're just mean. They might come looking for you.
Yeah, they're ornery as hell. They're just jerks, man. I mean, your water moccasin, gentlemanly type, totally respects the rules of the road. Copperhead, they're just mad.
Not so much. You get copperhead bit, you're going to get your pain. You're going to get your swelling. You're going to have disfigurement.
Yeah.
Maybe the loss of a finger or a toe and significant morbidity. Yeah, that's a word you don't ever want associated with yourself. Significant morbidity.
I've had this thought many times, like the possible when people say, like, what's the worst way to die? For me, it's very simple. I am in the clutches of a constrictor, a boa, an anaconda, a python. It is squeezing the life out of me. And with my final deep breath, waiting to hear the sirens of a cop coming to save me, I look over and here comes a copperhead. That's it. Like the python's got me and the venomous snake. Yeah. The double snake is there's nothing more chilling in life for me to imagine.
That's pretty high, I think, on anyone's list. I don't. I'm not manic about it. Like, I'm not obsessive, or I have a particular phobia about that. But yeah, I wouldn't want to go that way either.
That's true.
Amazon, like once a year, they a whole dude. They open up. They go out there in the jungle. They get it. They wrangle it. Chop its head off or whatever and open it up, and there's a whole man in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I do not want to, be slowly digested.
Yeah, I have made it a point as an adult to always live in large metropolitan urban areas, mainly because you don't come across a lot of snakes. That's truly
a rat, a raccoon.
Yeah. And Rosemary would be like, wouldn't it be great to just have a place out in the country? And I'm like, sure would, while never considering it for 1 second. Hey, it is the year 2024, and as astounding as it is to say this, it's true. The Rolling Stones are on the road right now, not only on tour playing their iconic hits, but playing songs from a new and really wonderful album. The Hackney Diamonds Tour is up and running, and we would love to send you to see the Rolling Stones. One winner is going to score a trip for 2 to Vancouver, including round-trip air, 2 nights hotel, and tickets to a show at the BC Palace July 5th. You could do a lot worse than go see the Stones in Vancouver. Right now, text the national keyword rolling. Rolling. Text that to 95819 to enter for a chance to win. Boom.
I like it.
Speaking of winning, in case you didn't notice, the Timberwolves are in the Western Conference Finals. Let's have one last little victory dance, complete with glitter and cake. We'll bring that your way in a minute. Hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, May the 20th. Led Zeppelin, Over the Hills and Far Away. Well, like we said earlier, Zepp said, whatever Zeppelin record I'm listening to, that's my favorite Zeppelin record album. When I hear that song, I always think, like, that's one of the ultimate Zeppelin songs. It's got everything the band ever did all in one song. It's got the folk part, the acoustic part, the electric part, the bombastic drum part. It's got everything. When my former rock and roll combo, the Black Crowes, was touring with Jimmy Page, we were in rehearsals, and Jimmy was thrilled to hear our suggestions for what to play. Like, well, let's do it, My Tommy Dying. He's like, okay, great, let's do it. Let's do Nobody's Fault Mine. That'd be great, let's do it. And I said, what about Over the Hills and Far Away? And he literally went, no. and immediately changed the subject. Like, it was... like something about that song, he was so completely uninterested in even discussing maybe we do it. And I was like, I always meant to go back and go, hey, so what was going on with Over the Hills and Far Away? There's got to be a story there. And it could just be he doesn't like playing it. But I was like, man, what happened with that song? Why was it just so easily dismissed?
Right, quickly. It sounds like he just did it quickly. No.
And then it dawned on me, he might have dismissed it thinking, no, you can't do that one. I'll save you the embarrassment. So who knows? It's probably best not to know.
An unsolved mystery.
Yeah, probably.
Isn't that cute? Gorman
Probably
wants to do
best left unlearned, as are so many things. The Denver Nuggets learned a little something about messing with the Timberwolves after the weirdest 6 games ever in a 7-game series. Game 7 last night in Denver just weirded it all right off took the cake for weird. By which I mean the Denver Nuggets are the defending champions. This is their 3rd season in a row where you could make a strong argument that they were the best team in the league. They did not win the title 2 years ago, but injuries are the only reason they didn't. They did win it last year. They came in this year with the experience of a champion. They still have Nikola Jokic, 3rd straight MVP season for him. Jamal Murray, the best player ever to not be named first-team All-NBA in the league right now. They have it all going their way, and they have a Game 7 at home, and they are leading in the 3rd quarter by 20 points.
Yeah.
And somehow the Minnesota Timberwolves came back and took that game and took the series, took it decisively, by the way. They didn't win by 1. They won by 8 points. It was an astonishing game to watch. A perfect cap-off to an astonishing series. Just roller coaster rides every game, back and forth, back and forth. And that puts the Minnesota Timberwolves now into the Western Conference Finals, which means, among other things, we have seen the last of Rocky the mountain lion, the Denver Nuggets mascot for the season. So suck it, Rocky.
Rocky's packing it up.
He's a great mascot, truth be told. The guy is really about as good as it gets. And for his efforts, now this is coming on the heels of a story we talked about last segment. A woman at Disney World is in a lot of trouble. A woman in her 60s, a grandma, taking a family photo with her family. She goosed Goofy. She squeezed Goofy's ass 3 times. And on all 3 times went woohoo as she was getting a handful of Goofy. Now, we don't know who's under that costume. We just know whoever is playing the part of Goofy, whose ass needs to be squeezed, that person is pressing charges. It's assault. And it makes sense. You don't know who's under those costumes. You certainly don't have any right to paw them, even if they are a dog like Goofy. I mean, if he's talking like that, you want to do something. I mean, you don't want to squeeze his ass. You just want to shut him up. But maybe that's what she was thinking. Anyway, here's the point. We said that Disneyland mascots, Disney World and Disneyland, they started about $49K a year, which, I mean, hey, $49K is not worth sneezing at, but it's also not worth dying from sweating out your entire, all of your bodily fluids. Disney World in the summer in a Goofy costume, it can't get much harder and literally hotter than that. But now back to our friend Rocky, the Nuggets mascot. Not complaining too much that his season is over because my man or woman, whoever's playing Rocky, that person made $625,000 this year.
Holy cha-ching.
6.25. Who is Rocky's agent?
What does Rocky do? I didn't pay much attention to Rocky. I didn't see The Rock much. And there must be some gimmick that only that mascot can provide.
I don't think that Rocky does much more than other mascots. Like, they all come down from the ceiling and what do you call that? Where they descend on the rope.
The cable. They drop them down and little kiss move.
A lot of mini tramp dunk contests.
That's Crunch right there. He loves his. Well, they all love the mini tramp, but $625. All right.
Maybe they're counting appearances, promotional appearances.
What's the league minimum for rookie? What's the league minimum in the NBA?
The league minimum. Good question. Rookie player is going to make $900,000 a year. Rocky's making 2/3 of what a guy on a team is making.
All right. So I just Googled it here. Let's make sure this is current.
Right.
All right. 23-24. The Timberwolves do not disclose how much Crunch the Timberwolf makes. His salary not yet disclosed, but estimated to be $25,000 per year.
Oh, come on.
No, it's more than that.
All right.
I read one time it was like
NBAmascots.com. Who is Crunch the Wolf? Minnesota Timberwolves. Let me read it to you again.
Oh, come on.
His salary is not yet disclosed, but is estimated to be $25,000 per year. I'm just reading it. I just Googled it. So, yeah, please prove me wrong. Here it is. Yeah, NBA mascots.
If you're making $25,000 and someone doing the same job's making $625,000, you need to change out your agent. You got to get a better lawyer. You got to do something.
Hell yeah, you do.
Harry the Hawk, the mascot for the Atlanta Hawks, makes $600 straight up.
Jeez.
And by the way, that's the mascot for a team who is always underachieving. Benny the Bull in Chicago, $400,000. Okay, this is nuts. The gorilla, the Phoenix Suns gorilla mascot.
Yeah.
I think he's the most famous NBA mascot these days. That guy's everywhere. He's only making $200,000 large.
Oh, all right.
This is crazy. I get maybe that mountain air. You just got to pay people higher. But
with the elevation, the salary.
There is a baseball mascot in the top 5, and that would be Wally, who is the Red Sox, as in the green monster, the wall in left field. Wally, the mascot, makes $250,000, and Wally looks like, he's a ripoff of Big Red, the Western Kentucky mascot, just a giant orf with a big mouth, and there's not much to him. He's just like he's like this amorphous amoeba-looking thing. This is crazy.
Yeah, these nuts. Yeah, I'm looking for something different for Crunch here. Maybe you guys can find it. And but yeah, that must be. That's interns. That's one step up from the interns. Like, hey, you kid,
pretty much
put on the suit. kind of thing. But Crunch has got some skill. Crunch is out there putting on a show,
Yeah,
so
he is.
that can't be right. But that's what I'm just looking at the website, NBAmascots.com.
What would you, go back in time. I say this a lot about records when people talk about, because music is basically free now. My kids grew up where they didn't realize paying for music made sense. They're just like, just get on a streamer or just download it. But if you think back to what is the most important album you've ever had? What have you listened to the most? What record has been your go-to at the darkest times in your life? And then add up, like, what's it worth to you? Like, imagine removing it from your memory. You come up pretty quickly with, heck, I don't know, whatever record meant so much to me or music in general. I'd pay anything to keep that. I would hate to be without music. It becomes priceless to a certain point. And a lot of people would say the same thing about sporting events. Like, if you were at the game, like if were either of you at the Vikings game, the miracle catch against the Saints, that playoff game a few years ago?
No, the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
No.
Okay, well, for everybody who was, they still think about it once a week, right? They can't help it.
I mean, it's
just something will pop in their mind, or they'll see a bowl of jambalaya and go, New Orleans. Oh, I was at that game. They see a picture of Louis Armstrong and they're like, I was at that game. I mean, there's a million.
That's a high water mark in your life. Yeah.
They get ear pain.
And then you think, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember the game after that, right.
And you think about it and you're like, what would going back and how much mileage I've gotten from telling the story, how many times I've just been warm inside at the thought, what is that ticket now worth in hindsight? That's just the kind of thing I think about. For anybody who thinks this upcoming fight on Netflix between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, who's a YouTube douchebag.
Not interested.
If you think about that in those terms, looking back on that fight, what's it worth? What would I have paid to go see Jake Paul, again, an internet douchebag, fight against Mike Tyson, at one time a guy on track to be the greatest heavyweight ever? Well, somebody apparently is going to fork out $2 million for this fight.
Mind-boggling. I mean, literally, you just have a money tree. You have so much freaking money that $2 million, is that it? Well, I'll just do it because I can. I would love to see Mike Tyson pummel Jake Paul. I mean, maybe the one punch. Just come out, dance around, and boom, down. Or that old bull rush that he used to do.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know where this thing's at. Was it a couple of months out? But $2 million? What do you get for $2 million, Steve?
I want to see a body shot. I want it to be one of those liver punches where he hits him and then Jake Paul stands there for 1, 2, and then somewhere between count 2 and 3, he suddenly goes, it just falls. I love when you see a guy go down with the body shot. That's always the best. So there's a $2 million VIP ticket package, and they're very confident this will be taken advantage of. Here's what you get for $2 million. Right. 2 unique ringside apron seats.
Well, of course.
4 first-row ringside floor seats.
Oh, all right.
4 second-row ringside floor seats. An exclusive stadium arrival experience.
That cable that you talked about for the mascots, they drop you from the ceiling into your seat.
What exclusive stadium arrival? What does that mean? What, a limo with a motorcycle cop? Whoopee.
To ride it on a horse.
Yeah, right.
Security as well as an escort during fight night. You know why you need security? Because they're going to make sure everyone there knows you have $2 million to burn, and you're the mark of the stadium. Everyone's going to be trying to get your wallet. A private green room. Okay, so I'm going to spend $2 million and I'm just going to be with people I already know?
Right, no.
Open that thing up. Top shelf open bar. All exclusive menu.
Of course.
A pre-fight dressing room photo with both fighters separately. Gloves signed by both. Fight in ring photo opportunity. Post-fight in ring. So after the fight's over, you get a photo in the ring, 2-night luxury stay at a fight hotel, front row seats to fight week events. And then here's the kicker. You get to be on stage during the weigh-in.
Oh, big.
Okay. What about a continental breakfast?
I mean, this is not the Rumble in the Jungle here, you know. The Thrilla in Manila. This is Jake Paul versus He's in his 50s, right? Or is he in his 60s now, Mike Tyson?
He's pushing 60. He's still in his 50s.
Yeah, I mean, you should get, like, Mike Tyson will beat up one of your rivals. Just pick one person, maybe an old school bully. He'll track him down and beat him up for you. That tiger that he had in Hangover.
Oh, my God. That is
something like that.
Genius. For $2 million, you should literally be able to name Tyson's opponent. That's incredible.
Yes.
That is incredible.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
There would be people. I mean, do you know how many people would fill in the blank? Every tech billionaire was picked on in school, and you could see Mark Zuckerberg. He'd be the first guy to buy that package.
I
know exactly who Tyson's gonna fight. His name is Mike O'Neill, and I had him in physics class.
The KQ Morning Show would start a GoFundMe page. Let's raise $2 million, and then we'll let you vote on the KQ webpage who Mike Tyson gets to pummel.
God, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, now you've got me interested, but not for an weigh-in photo or whatever you mentioned, some ringside seats.
No,
for $2 million for this boner, and they're only 2-minute. My buddy Paul just let me know they're not even 3-minute rounds; they're 2-minute rounds. They're not wearing the headgear. I hope this is just. It's too bad for Mike Tyson. Again, I hope he comes in there and just destroys him, so you can be like, okay, Mike, you did it for the money. I guess I don't know. You have your own.
Yeah, he's making a boatload of cash
here.
All
right, okay, I get it, but what if he struggles? You know, no, but then your legacy is shot for good. I mean, you haven't done it any favors since you went to prison, but yeah, all right.
I'm just thinking. I've never heard anything better than name Tyson's opponent. You're onto something there, Zep. That is brilliant. I'm gonna go. There's a guy from a town in Kentucky. His name is Bentley Cornelius. That's his real name.
No, it's not. Really?
Bentley Cornelius was the bully who tormented me in middle school. Lived in my neighborhood. He would try to pick on me. He could never get over on me because I'm such a smartass, and I had older brothers.
Yeah.
So anything he was throwing out at me, I'm like, dude, I get this worse at home. Bring it on.
Bentley.
But is that just because of that name, Bentley Cornelius?
Third.
I have no idea where he is now. I have no idea what kind of shape he's in, but he was kind of chunky as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing a well overweight 60-year-old man going, what did I win? Why am I here? And then the lights turn on and Mike Tyson's standing there, black shorts, 2 boxing gloves.
Right.
Yes.
This is from Steve.
I'm getting paid $2 million, and you dunked Steve at the pool in 1979. You're going to pay Bentley Cornelius. That would be fantastic. Hey, Mike, this kid, he hates tigers. Where is he? Oh, man.
That bull rush him.
He hates pigeons. That would hit him harder.
Oh, man. That's upsetting. You better watch yourself. Tyson will come after you if you even bring that up again.
My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Say that to him.
Damn straight. That's a lot of.
A lot going on there.
Thank you. There's a lot of directions. My man's going in that realm. So we've got 2 months till the fight. We got 3 days till game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against Dallas.
Hey, I know you're up against it here, and we got other things to get along to. Sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to get your take on this because I'm coming back, for the Timberwolves. I'm on the bandwagon now. I guess I was on and off.
I appreciate it.
All right.
In 1 week, you've jumped on and off 4 times. It's been awesome.
Look at the games, for crying out loud. They suck. They dominate. They suck. They dominate. But anyway, all right, they're so damn entertaining. Set the series up. Who wins? Who's coming to town? Dallas. What do they got down there these days?
They've got Luka Doncic, who's arguably he's without question one of the 5 or 6 best players in the world, an offensive nightmare to contend with. They've got Kyrie Irving, who when he feels like is as good as anybody. True. Arguably the greatest small man finisher by the rim in league history. I mean, he's a spectacular talent and just a goofball. So, but they're playing very, very well together. And they just beat the OKC Thunder, who were the top seed in the West and had a tremendous an offensive team. And Dallas's defense apparently figured something out. But Luka's been a little dinged up, and Kyrie's still Kyrie, and he hasn't really done anything in the playoffs of note since 2017. So, the Timberwolves are favored in this series. All the Vegas books have them as a favorite to win the series. But when you've got 2 players on the court, either of whom What Dallas has two guys that have in the past already done things that Anthony Edwards has yet to do. Like they have two guys you could say are every bit as good as Ant, and they have more experience. So it's going to be tough. But I feel good about the Wolves. I guarantee you whoever wins this series is going to beat the Boston Celtics. I get that much I feel very good about.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas.
Hey.
Man, Anthony Edwards with the line of the year to Charles Barkley. So that's pretty great. Oh, hell, I'll just say it. On May 20th, 2024, as in a few hours ago, Wolves fans woke up and thought that didn't really happen, did it? Yes, it did. Enjoy it, Minnesota. Enjoy the greatness. This is a wonderful time. I know it doesn't feel weird. It's like a jacket that's ill-fitting. You'll get used to it. Trust me when I say.
We're waiting for the shoe, the other shoe.
No, baby. No, these are slip-ons. Just they're Crocs. They're Timberwolf-colored Crocs. They feel good. Keep them both on.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.